Jonas Poher Rasmussen et Cate Blanchett.
Good afternoon, everybody, and good afternoon to all.
I have been a Goodwill ambassador unofficially since 2015, and just this year went to South Sudan and Niger and back again to Jordan. And I think what and also being Australian, we've had a long and shameful history with offshore processing. So it's, but yet our society has been positively built, colonial invasion notwithstanding, on the welcoming stance of refugees and asylum seekers. And I've seen that calcify over the last sort of 20, 30 years. And that's happening globally.
Pleasure. Hello.
And when I started working with UNHCR back in 2015, the numbers of displaced around the world were approaching 60 million. And there's new figures coming out in a few weeks, and it's going to be even more than this. But at the moment, we're up at, 114 million. And that's just in the time, in a very short period of time. So it's an enormous crisis.
Tell us a little bit more about Drift.
I'm white, I'm privileged, I'm middle class, and I think, one can be accused of having a bit of a white saviour complex. But to be perfectly honest, my interaction with with refugees in the field and also in resettled environments has totally changed my perspective on the world, and I am utterly grateful for that. And I think if you do have a platform, I want to be in dialogue with these people. I've met some extraordinary people with extraordinary creative talents and amazing perspective.
Was there resistance to watch the film in the beginning?
I think it's really about taking the time to listen carefully. Because, when we don't take the time, we just get the surface. But there's so much depth to these stories. And if we just kind of spend the time, and I think especially, decision makers who can fund these things, they would see that there's so many amazing stories out there to be made, and in exhilarating ways. And there's so much detail that makes them human and fun and relatable. So I think, to me, the curiosity and spending the time on just listening carefully to what is being said is a first step for everyone.
If we give people the agency to make the thing they want to make, and we give them the platform, then you actually end up creating more connections for others and opening ideas and opening minds. And even though at this moment in time, sometimes the foresight is small, and we can only see one way of it going, and we can only see one idea of what an experience can be. Each individual has a completely different experience. So you cannot actually know until you allow them to share it.
Everybody is reunited in this.
What also is really important is the role that festivals play in showcasing these works. And there are some refugee festivals specifically designed for refugee filmmakers around the world. There's one in Tokyo, there's one in Seoul, but they're run by NGOs. And they're kind of, in a way, they're very important, but they're slightly ghettoized. And I think what we're trying to discuss is how to bring these incredible stories of courage and resilience into the mainstream.